Okay. Don't really know what this one is, why, but I have work today, and it's a sunny Tuesday morning on this beautiful island. The rays are just hitting the Maxwell mountain face, and it's amazing. I'm contemplating imposter syndrome and how the hell I can feel it so heavily. Like, so heavily. And, like, it's just the audacity. Like, how can I feel it so heavily? Because I'm completely, like, endeavoring in things that fulfill me, and I'm in places that fulfill me, and I think it's stemming from, like, a serious lack of, like, acknowledgement of what I'm doing. Because I am in shock, but also because of the imposter syndrome, it's hard to feel or believe that I deserve it, or that it's even, like, a progressive decision, I guess, like travel and being lenient with studying, and, well, not really lenient by choice, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I have these subconscious ways of, like, viewing what I'm doing, even though it's like, damn, dude, you literally just did 3 months in Europe, you've done a year in Oz, like, New Zealand is going to be your 14th or 15th country that you're traveling to. You have Swedish working visa and, like, a declaration for inheriting citizenship, literally just in the cloud waiting, like, we're in the works, and you already have your working holiday visa for New Zealand granted, and you're working and you're saving and you're, like, there's all these factors, but why do I have to justify it to myself? Where is the line of simply feeling like, because I feel fulfilled, but I have this unrelenting feeling that it's not enough, and that it'll never be enough, and that I also don't deserve what I am experiencing, but that I'm never gonna, like, meet the points that I'm supposed to, quote unquote. But it's fascinating because I'm never, like, I don't think anyone consciously puts those kind of weights on ourselves. And a lot of it plays into, like, deep psychological wiring of, I don't know, traumas or insecurities or just however that came to be. But it's interesting. Maybe I'm falling short in the act of, like, witnessing it too much, and I need to put more action into addressing it. And, like, wow, yeah, that feels like the medicine right there. I need to actualize within myself the profundity of my achievements and the profundity of just the path I'm on, and it doesn't matter how far I go, how high or how low. All that matters really is that I'm doing it, and that it resonates with me, and that it feels fulfilling, and that it feels magical, and because only I put the expectation on myself for it to be anything other than what it is. Ultimately, even if that expectation was adopted from life experiences or whichever, I'm ultimately the one placing it on myself. Which is interesting to pinpoint, because it's not like I'm actively doing that, It's not like I'm willing into the force of nature of my existence the feelings of being an imposter, or that I'm a husk of a human that deserves nothing, you know? That's... I'm not swinging my wand for that to become my life. Consciously. Although, subconsciously, or even like innately, I think might be a good word for it. I'm doing it innately. As in, the patterns of just reality happen, and then my internal patterns of registering what happens. So I'll come home late after work and finally organize my clothes in the way that I've been intending, and I can get the scope of what needs to be rid and da-da-da. And even though I've done that, I might still sit for 20 minutes throughout it or after and feel like I'm not doing enough. Even though I'm doing that, it's still not enough, because I'm not up running, and I'm not up like actively chanting for 7 hours, and I'm not, and it's like, wow, maybe that also could simmer down to the simple saying of like, comparison is the thief of joy. But it's just fascinating, you know, because even as I laid that as an example, it resonated, because that process literally happened last night. And it's like, why? I just have to start catching myself in those moments. And this is something I've been practicing since like middle school, you know, like working with these self-worth things and self-actualization tendencies and all these facets. But it's a lifelong journey. It's a never-ending story, and everyone is in the same boat. Not position, not angle, not trifle, but just the same boat. They understand it. And it's interesting. Oh, everything's interesting, apparently. But it also plays into duality. Like, we wouldn't have either side if it weren't for either side, you know, light without the dark. And so if I didn't have these suffocating processes happen sometimes, then what would be the driving force to push me forward? You know? Yeah, it's awesome. It's really awesome stuff, though. It really is. And it's like, that might be an ironic thing to say or concept. Because sufferance is sufferance, and those processes of like suffocation and insecurity and etc. can be so heavy and can feel like the end of the world when you're in the thick of it. But what else is there to do other than laugh? Because it is laughable. You have some aspects of yourself that doubt the entirety of yourself, and how is that the winning force, you know? They don't have the numbers. Those defenses don't line up. You have the whole artillery of your existence, the very, like, essence and waking fibers of your being, and somehow these insecurities, etc., have such a weighing voice that they can have such an effect that you become incapacitated and can't retaliate. How, Mina? How? So-and-so, you know? Climb that goddamn mountain. Get up there. Regard yourself with respect and integrity and dignity is how I feel when I overcome it, at least. Which is, like, obviously daily, you know? I think every human has personal processes on the daily that might happen in this light or others and different levels, like the drasticity can differ. But when I am either in the thick of it and I become lucid, or afterwards and I've done the like work of like sourcing where it's coming from and listening to it and feeling what's being needed to be felt, and like processing, holding space for myself, maybe releasing it through creative outlets and letting the emotions speak, whatever it is, I come to this vivid point of being with myself. I guess maybe in reverence is the right word, where I'm flabbergasted by the resilience of self, but then also completely dumbfounded by the like almost gullibility of myself, you know, to fall for those like the conniving tricks of that jester again. It's like, how it's wild. And so then I'm there in that vivid moment. It's funny because I'm staring at Mount Maxwell right now, but I'll be there in that vivid moment with myself, and it's like, come on, man. Where were you for yourself in that? Why weren't you able to show up? I mean, at least you're showing up now. Oh my God, you showed up now, and that's phenomenal. Doesn't matter what amount of time it takes or what it takes to get you there, but damn, you're on top of the mountain. You're halfway to the top of the mountain. Wherever it is, vividly regard that storm. Come on, girl. Was it really that? Was it really those things that would over encumber you to like this point? Is that really the kryptonite? You know? You deserve so much more. And you know you deserve so much more. Especially from yourself. Especially from yourself. Because that's all we really have in the end is ourselves, you know? Of course we have kin. Of course we have community. Of course we have our pets, our home. All these things outside of our vessels. But ultimately, it like all simmers down to ourselves. And that relationship is so important and goes overlooked way more than people talk about, I think, or even know about. Because I know it was absolutely revolutionary for me to make that transition of like, I'm a person in this body. This is my body. This is the thing I dress up and do things with, and I go out and fulfill missions in this life. Like I am a mechanism in this organism. I don't know. I'm a wheel in the cog. Like going from that sort of like modus operandi into respecting the self and the vessel and the temple and the sacredness of it. It was really eye-opening, you know? It's revolutionary. And that relationship, connecting with that relationship was life-changing because you begin to foster a different approach to you know? You engage with your perspectives differently, you engage with reality differently, you engage with like your personal ties to reality differently, and it all becomes sort of this coexistence and a cohesive awareness of we are counterparts, me and myself, which is trippy to acknowledge, but it is true. It's like there's our planetary body, there's our soul, which is the medium to our planetary body, and then thirdly, our higher self. And in a lot of other ways, it's the mother, maiden, and crone, you know? Mother being the higher self, maiden being our soul body, our crystalline self, or whatever, energy body, our spirit, our insides, whatever you want to call it, my conscience, my gut, my instinct, my brain, my heart. That's the mother. That's the maiden. Mother is the higher self, and then the crone. If I'm not speaking reversed, yeah, no, of course I'm not. Crone is the baby. It's our planetary body. And you know, that's just my hypothetical take on like those layers of self, and I don't know, the mother, maiden, and crone spoke to me metaphorically and like figuratively as a reflection of these things that I'm talking about. And that's what comes to mind. But the literal origination is neo-paganism, and it's the triple goddess, and essentially like depicts enchantment, expansion, and the promise of new beginnings, and like birth, youth, and like the cycles of femininity, and the mother, the maiden, the crone. I think I was actually saying it wrong. It's the mother, the maiden, the crone. But yeah, fascinating. But that's all you really have in the end, is what I'm trying to say. And like acknowledging that relationship between these different almost dimensions is really cool and really next level, you could say. And then there's so many other parts of that I could talk about, of what I did, what to do, where it is, what does that even look like? It being like the relationship with yourself and what that means. Wow, my mind is reeling. But it's my mind is now reeling on how that also reflects in like how you view other people and your take on other people, and almost like the psychological and spiritual awareness of other people and even animals. Yeah. And to note, I don't think you need to have a spiritual drive or a spiritual curiosity to resonate with this concept of like having a relationship with yourself. It can be science-based, it can be psychology-based, it can be like a psychological relationship, it can be even almost a surface relationship, if whatever lengths, resonate, and it can be applied in so many filters. It's not isolated to how I was regarding it and how I experience it, which with the higher self and medium soul level and planetary body and stuff. But maybe someone experiences like internal twin selves, or maybe people only speak to their ego in their heart, or maybe some people speak to a whole whackload of parts of themselves and their spirit teams, or whichever, But it's just freaking starting, that process of connecting and looking inward and looking how inward reflects outward and vice versa. And just that recognition of who, why, what, where, but all in the sense of self. Yeah. I've got to listen to that over because I'm so curious what this tangent, dialogue, monologue, yada 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 has been. My heart feels jovial and inspired as fuck. I'm gonna do my best to, I guess, edit this and do something with it on the internet like the last episode, question mark. It's pretty cool that about probably a week or two later, I'm doing this again and feeling driven, and yeah, there's no one else in this life other than myself that will be the paver of my paths, the dictator of my vibes, and the mastermind that works alongside my destiny, you know? And the only thing that would ever hold me back truly would be myself. And that applies to every single person on this planet. Which is so frickin' fascinating. A bunch of individual beans in this massive bean sprout, just doing what a bean's gotta do. Okay, well, I'm gonna go enjoy the day, enjoy the sunshine, drop off some mail, and take care of yourselves out there. Hope you enjoyed.